Right. Well, welcome, guys. It is Monday the 3rd of August. So we have got a fresh month here. All right. So I always like to, start out. I think in the live last night, I mentioned that it was July. Shows obviously how much sleep that I had. So fresh month. We've always got to look at a fresh month as a clean start. I think, like I mentioned last night, everyone's mindset on trading is I've got to make money, I've got to, make it back. But sometimes if you had a month, even if you had a month where you didn't even trade, all right, you're probably going to be better off than the last, 3 to 6 months. All right, and that is how crazy it is. So you obviously have to take that into consideration, and I would split split your month up into four. I would have make sure that you are you are you are kind of have a good routine, all right, and then kind of split it up. So maybe you try one thing first week, maybe take a small bit out, add a small bit in for week number two, take a small bit out, add a bit in for week number three. Try and tweak things, but the goal is worst case to be no more than over a month. You don't want to be any more than 10% in drawdown, and I would say, I know that probably no one speaks about this, but if you're 10% in drawdown, but you're stuck to your routine, you are, you're doing well. And obviously, it doesn't matter what you try. Coffee here. It doesn't matter what you try. Um, you want to sometimes you've got to go 10 steps backwards to go 100 steps forwards. So make sure that you are happy to kind of take this back step to then propel, because that's obviously one of the most important things. Next thing that I wanted to go over before we get started, right, is every trade that you take is just an idea. All right. It's your kind of view, it's your outlook on the which direction that you think the market's gonna go. So don't be too make sure that you're humble enough to kind of own it, that what, I'm not going to get it right 100% of the time, because no one gets it right 100% of the time. But if your idea, that particular trade idea, if that is, if you can explain why you've taken it, where you've taken it, your routine, your confidences, everything, if you can explain all of this for every single trade, even if you get it completely wrong, which I had some absolute stinkers last week, but you know what, I can every morning I can hop on here, I can explain it, I can because at the end of the day, a trade that you take is just your view, all right, so and there's yeah, you've got to hope that obviously, you've got a 1 in 2 chance. That's obviously the beauty of trading, especially if you do it properly, especially if you trade obviously how we trade, where we're obviously allocating some pullbacks before we trigger. We have got genuinely a 1 in 2 chance. And sometimes your ideas are going to be right, and obviously sometimes your ideas are going to be wrong, and so but don't don't kind of don't change how you're doing things. Don't think about changing your routine, even if you've got a couple wrong on the trot. Don't then kind of jump in. um so yeah, that's obviously one thing. Now, I've got a question here from Laureen. Trump announced resumption of talks with Iran with no response from Tehran this morning. Is this something to consider? Yes. All right. So, uh, I was expecting pretty high escalation. I was expecting the opposite to obviously happen, and this is the beauty of me, stepping back, Sunday nights because I can get it. I can get my outlook completely wrong. All right, or not outlook, I always it's a guide, isn't it? Because no one knows obviously what's going to happen at the weekend, right? There were no further attacks yesterday, all right? And it's Trump has actually been getting pressure from the Gulf countries, all right? So we've got no ceasefire, um, but obviously we've got kind of the diplomatic talks happening, so it's not been kind of they've not all agreed to come and sit around a table and right, what, let's be here for two weeks that no bombs, blah 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 blah. But obviously there is talks happening, and yes, Trump the Trump and Israel are getting pressure from the Gulf countries because obviously, these are the guys being hit. Their military bases are on, their countries, Jordan, Saudi, um, and they've kind of, these are the ones who are being hit, being, attacked, and so the US is almost heading this fight, but they're okay all the way here, So that's obviously one thing that has has changed, and it's been hit pretty hard. If we're looking at de-escalation here, all right, it's hit it pretty hard. So if we're looking at yields here, right, big drop, market gap to open here, right, big drop, but obviously still we need to be wary, that obviously we are in this trend, um, but obviously, yeah, yes, we've got to be going with what is happening here. Dollar absolute meltdown here. Honestly, it's nuts, nuts, nuts. So if I get rid of this on the dollar, and this is one thing that I wanted to speak about yesterday. We've got a very, very, very active, US dollar week this week. So we obviously need to be aware, and obviously need to try and understand, is it going to be the data that's going to push the dollar, or is it going to be escalation, de-escalation, inflation, these kind of clouds here, so we're going to have to take each day at a time. Don't think it's worth kind of trying to think too far ahead. We're obviously, intraday lower time frame trading, so we've got to really kind of be cautious on how we kind of play this. So yeah, dollar oil back below. Oil's down 8.22%. It must have been 9% at a point here. So remember what we discussed here? Below 80 is like ideal, yeah. And that is that's obviously one thing that we've got to check. And that's one thing that we've got to be aware of here. It's anything below here means inflation will instantly cool. And then what have we seen off the back of it? Equities, stocks flying. Everything's up and around between 0.75 and 1% up, and it's only quarter past 8. So we've seen a massive instant jump here. So that means there's risk. Yes, Jets. Not sure what that means. Um, there's Jets here. There's there's chance for stocks to carry on climbing as long as obviously escalation that doesn't happen. Yeah. All right. So just a quick one here, Alex. Do you think Japan will dump US yields this week? They've already dumped it. All right. So just going through here, right? And if I just obviously explain here, so Japan is happy. All right. Anything under 160, they are happy. All right. They're comfortable. Remember then that they're not making money out of this. It's costing them, So, anything in this area, they start to get they start to get worried about. All right. But obviously they've dumped it well below here. So, and obviously if US dollar has a bit of a tough time, and yields, start to struggle, especially if it's true about them, them printing. If the US, I read up some, it's just rumors that Kevin Walsh wants to inject like 800 million into the US economy of, printed cash. So, that also is going to, slightly dump the, US dollar. Alex here. Why should the Fed print money? Um, because it's yeah, the only time they print money is when they're going to hand it out. So if you think, the last time they printed, I think it was something crazy, like 80% of the total US dollars in circulation. I mean, I could be wrong on this statistic. I'm just going back on, memory here. But 80% of the US dollars ever printed were printed during COVID. That's how much money they printed, So, but obviously they printed it to hand it out, bet like us, furlough for company, bounce back loans. So I'm kind of in two minds whether it's true, whether it's not. It's always bad. It's not good news for any economy printing. But obviously, it happens. So yeah, we'll wait and see, what happens here. Right, let's kind of have a brief look. So I've gone massively off here, but obviously we've got today news to obviously think about, worry about. We've got Eurozone PMI, not going to worry us too much. UK PMI, probably not going to worry us too much either. But obviously, US, manufacturing PMI employment. So this is one to obviously watch, but it's a little bit later on. It's at 3. I think yeah, I'm still on same time, so it's cool. So a little bit later on 3. I might have a look at this because I might choose to intraday wise potentially take a trade around 3, or we'll just carry on. So I'm going to have to judge how the markets are acting here. So right, what are we going to do today in regards to obviously what is happening here? So yields are 0.3%, 0.38% down, but holding, stocks holding high, dollar. Yeah, so dollar breached 99,500. Yeah, if we look, so from Tuesday last week, we've gone from 101,500 all the way down to 99,500. I can't kind of agree, but I had a message about it potentially coming up and tapping 100. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of pressure to the downside here, but I'm not going to go 100. I'm going to go this area here. All right, where I'd be surprised, and I think we've got to change our outlook if this area here breaks. Yeah, so if we could get a break, retest, continuation, we should see something like this happen. But I think we're gonna get a little bit less kind of pressure, and I think we're going to potentially see something like this happen, where we could kind of dive down. But I also don't think there is much. I, ju- I just I, ju- I just can't see things that bad that obviously dollars should be trading below 99 500. So I think if we don't see a lot of stuff happening, we could see something like this happen. But obviously again we've got to act every day. We do have non-farm payroll on Friday. So if that data comes out, I don't think they've put any forecasts in yet. Let's have a look. It might have done. Not yet, no. So if if we look at it last month, it's probably not that hard to increase 49K worth of jobs, but I think that potentially, you know, um, we could see, yeah, markets start to. There we go here. So 15 to 70, yeah. So we're expecting an increase here. All right, unemployment rates, supposed to stay. So I think Friday could be our biggest day of the week. It could be a big breakout day, if we miss either way. But then we do have to think about right in July what was happening. There was, pure escalation. When there's escalation, is everyone out there, spending money, hiring, when inflation's high, is everyone out there, they're kind of tighten up, so we have to potentially have that expectation, but maybe we're going to be a bit wrong. So right, let's now have a look at our pairs. I'm gonna just for today. Um, I'm going to have a look. I'm probably going to stay away from gold in regards to intraday, just because I think we're gonna see it kind of doing this. And I'd rather be managing that on a lower time frame than us taking on that risk here. So because yields are down, because dollar is down, and we're trading below this area. Like I'd said, if obviously dollar broke above, I'd be looking to buy it. All right, but I'm not going to today. So I'm gonna stay away from Aussie because Aussie's linked in with um gold because obviously it's one of the biggest exporters. So let's have a look at GBP here. Asia here, has obviously tried to pip higher, hasn't worked. Let's have a look at the previous day. All right, so that's a good starting point here. Let's mark up Friday's high and Friday's low here. Yeah. All right, just to give us, some kind of a you know helping hand. All right. So and then we've obviously got Asia here, which Asia, I'm just going to mark it up as an area for now because we've already breached it. I'm expecting price to come back in and tap into this Asian high, if obviously that's what we are looking at here. And as it's a Monday, as it's the start of the month, we've got a couple of options here to buy from. We got one here, or we got one here. All right, these are our options here. Or if we really want to be a little bit more aggressive, we can go somewhere in between. So we could start it here, potentially do something like this. So if I do, now there are jets flying over here. So, yeah, potentially results being have something like this. Right, so let's mark that one. Great. Yeah. All right. So I think maybe this one might be quite a good way of doing it. Something in between. Our stop loss won't be too bad either. Let's just have a look at this. So another one as well. It's rounded down to 50. Too late. Anyway. Um, right. So what stop would that give us if we go here? I might play around with this one a bit. So I might play around with it 'cause I want the stop to be below the previous daily low. Not another one. Yeah. Nuts. There's been about six checks. You guys hear them? It's flying over. Right. So I want to be. I'm going to have a little bit of a juicier stop here, and I'm going to have potentially. Let's have a look here. Right. So I'm going to drop this down slightly to 25. I just want to make sure that our stop is just below here. All right. So I'm happy with this here. All right. I'm happy with this here. So hopefully that's all over now. I actually reckon if we wanted to, we could probably raise this a bit higher. We could probably raise it up to like 70 pips. Because if we're going to get this continuation, then it's going to be pretty good here. So yeah, right. Happy with this here. So for anyone who is new here, obviously red is my stops and yellow is my entries. All right. So it's yellow now. I've got fly on my screen. Go away. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, let's put these in. So we've got entry 1, 2, 3 here. Pretty happy with those entries. There we go. And then we can have overall TP2 here. This one here. There we go. And then we have TP1. I would, if it triggers, and obviously I am erring on the side of caution here. I don't mind going a bit more aggressive a bit later on. But obviously I am hoping for this move to die down and then obviously peak to the upside here. So that is what I'm looking for here um, today. Yes, like I'd said, we could have gone a bit more aggressive and targeted this area here. But I would rather, Monday, start of the month, err on the, side of caution. All right, so I'm going to copy and I'll put that in the group. GBP USD by trade idea. There we go. That is number one. Right, let's go for euro, and then I might do USD JPY. So, right, euro here. Let's obviously try and speed this up because I understand some people have got places to be. So we're going to do previous 80 high because it's just going to give us a bit of a view. Uh, we'll mark up Asia because that's where we're going to be targeting into. All right, and then similar here. All right, you've got a couple of options here. All right. I mean, I quite like the look of this one here because we've got, you know, obviously price tried breaking up, couldn't. As soon as it broke through, it broke above, come back, retested this area, struggled. Or you've got this one down here. All right. The realistic view of it coming all the way back down here is probably quite slim. All right. So I do think we're going to go for this one here. Let's just see where we are if we do something like this. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good. So let's move this one down. Way like that. There we go. Right. Let's have a look at this in regards to 7.5. What does that look like? 7.5 and 7.5. Yeah, I quite like that. And then that should cover us as well. Like I just said, guys, I don't know where my long is. What is it over there? There we go. So like I'd said, I'm erring on the side of caution here. Yeah, because I just don't want to overexpose us early. All right. I'm happy with that. For it to stop us out, it's gotta come in and tap the it's gotta come in and tap the previous daily, low here. And the chances of that happening, if you look at our trend, it's very, very uptrend base. We also got a massive low here. So, yes, we could have gone slightly more aggressive if you wanted to. You could have gone aggressive here, but obviously, I would much rather, like I'd said, new month. So let's make sure that we are, a- erring on the side of caution, and if we need to turn things up, we can. Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to clone these and do this quickly. 3, 4, 5. There we go. Right, let's just raise this up. So that is our stops there. We've got yellow, yellow. So that's obviously entry one, entry two. Sorry, this is entry one, entry three. Yeah. And then we're going to have our TP1 in line with this one here. All right. Because, we've obviously got lots of support and lots of my internet connection's not stable, apparently. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here for Euro USD. So can you guys still hear me? Yeah? Yeah, cool. I'll answer your question in a minute, Alex, but that is the craziest question that I've ever had, I think. Okay. Right, okay, that deal. Right, last one's last. Let's go for USD Right, we're gonna have to be very cautious on this one because it could be a bit wild. Right, you can't look to buy this, yeah? I just want to make everyone understand. All right, but we also do have to be a bit cautious. And also we have to understand, I'm just marking up Friday's price movement here because we obviously have come in and tapped into it and then rejected it. To have a look at Asia, really, really big Asian, move here. All right, really big. And I'm expecting price on all pairs to finish up somewhere in the Asian range. I don't think we're going to break out of it. So I'm going to probably go for this Asian. I mean, we've got a great spot here. Let's just do 20 pips. I just want to see where it gets us. Yeah, that's fine. So 20 pips is pretty small. Somewhere like this. Okay. So let's keep Asian. Let's not worry about Asia then. We're going to move this to someone like this, but we're going to play around with it. So the chances of this coming up and peaking are probably a bit slim. So let's have a look what we've got here. We do have 157. I mean, that is already, that is 5 7 would be about 50 pips away from where we currently are. So I actually don't mind that. 157, 157. Let's go 20. There we go. I actually don't mind this. It's going to give us a nice bit of space here. me get rid of this here first. Do 25 pips, 75 pips. Look like I've done that. 50. There we go. Yeah, like this. So we're targeting the previous daily, right? So if it obviously breaches, we should be pretty happy here. So I am quite happy with this one here. Going with trend, which is obviously what we wanted to do. And then we can obviously continue. Clone, clone, clone. How many is that? Yeah, that's it. Right. So we've got obviously our stop here. Stop here. We've got entry one, entry two, entry three. There we go. Have a look at this on a slightly lower time frame. I'm gonna put RTP1 a little bit higher because I want to err on the side of caution. Today's a side of caution, all right? And then we're here. There we go. Right. So I've made this live slightly longer. So hopefully you guys are still here and you're enjoying it. Right. Um, Sell trade idea. There we go. Right, that is our intro today. So let's just have a look at a couple of the questions here. So Alex, um, Alex, I read on X that the US and Japan are about to work together on intervention. Why could the US be interested in dumping their own bonds? How big regarding of pips should the entry zones be different, be under different singles? So right, well, let's answer the top question. So I don't think that's true, because it's all about power, isn't it? And one's always going to have power over the other. Yes, the US want to buy the bonds that Asia own, but obviously Asia don't want to give away that power just in case, because especially at the moment, they've seen how Trump can start a war and the dollar can fly. If we think the war started, he started this war in March, and obviously this is how you got to be looking at stuff here. So March here, all right. you know, he's started in March, all start pumping. He can pump his own currency by starting a war from 98 up to 101, or he can control it by doing tariffs or anything, and it's just wrong, so I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. How big regarding pips should the entry zones be on different symbols? I always stick it, standard. I do 20, because all we're doing is we're changing, our kind of, we want all we're doing in trading, right, is banking on. Let me go on a different. I'll just do it on NZD here. All right, so price is coming down. All right, and we've got one entry. Yeah, all right. We've got to get this pinpoint. But if we turn this entry into this, right, then it's going to be a lot easier for us to get an entry. Plus, it doesn't matter if it turns here or if it goes a bit further into it or if it just peaks past it. We've then scattered our entries. As long as you're not over risking here, you can split your entry into two. You can split it into three. You can split it into eight. But you just got to make sure that, because that's all you're doing. You just want price to come and scave your entry, pick up some orders, and then carry on. All right. Rather than everyone having this fixed entry, fixed TP, fixed stop loss, blend it a bit, make it, give yourself a higher probability, why, why not? Why would you only have, one entry? It's crazy. So right, I'm going to end this here, because yeah, we've obviously been on for a long time. Appreciate obviously you guys staying until the end. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and yeah, let's make sure that we have a good day today. So have a good one, team. Have a good one.